Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Dookie Forge, where we forge our way through Dookie and try not to get covered in Dookie. Anyway, I'm working on it still. So, this episode is going to be kind of an experimental episode. One of the things I haven't done yet, or tried to do, is forge welding. Now, in gas forges, it is a little bit more difficult because they just don't get up as hot, from what my understanding, as a coal forge. But theoretically, I should be able to get this little guy up to temperature. I don't know though, so we're going to test it out. What I'm going to start with is, what's it called? Just a mild steel, just 2 pieces of mild steel cleaned up, 2 little plates. Get some borax on it, which I got some little baggie of borax. I swear that's what it is. And we're just gonna try to just sandwich 2 plates together. I'm not gonna be welding them together. They're just gonna be sitting on top of each other, and then I try to, tap them together. And if I can get the mild steel to forge weld the test pieces, then we're going to try to move on to something a bit more interesting, which I'll have a really high chance of failure, so be warned. So what we have here is a failure to communicate. No. What we have here are 2 knives. Oh, if I can. Okay. What we have here is 2 knives. One, a carbon steel knife, and one, an old cheap stainless steel knife. This one definitely isn't very good. This one is better, but the steel stains really, really easily, which is the problem. So, if I can forge weld in this thing, my goal is to try, keyword, try, is to try and take this stainless steel chunk out and taco this blade with the stainless steel on the outside, and then, leave the cutting edge obviously visible, and then, regrind it down and stuff, and be able to make this knife a little bit more usable. That's the plan. I don't know how well it's gonna go. I guess if I can't even weld mild steel, 2 pieces of mild steel together as a test piece, I guess this is going to be a really short video, or not a video at all. I don't know. So I was looking around for a rag to clean the steel of any oils and stuff with some acetone, and I just can't find one. So what we're gonna do, hopefully this works, is I'm just gonna, this one, I could just dip it in. And leave it there. This one, the little guy, I'm just gonna lean over the bottle until it's almost out. And I'm just gonna dip kind of both sides in the liquids, and then hopefully that'll help keep them clean. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it. Obviously it's not. so I don't know the best order of operations. I have the 2 pieces of steel here. I have some borax. Do I put the borax on now, like on the steel a little bit, and then put the steel on it? Because I'm not welding it, so do I put it on and then, you know, I'm guessing I don't put it directly underneath. I'm guessing I put it on first, and then put some borax around it, right? And it gets sucked in, I'm guessing, as it melts. All right, so it's been running for a little bit. I don't know if it's actually up to temperature. It's the hottest the forge has ever been. It looks pretty hot. You know, I just don't know exactly. So I think I'm going to pull it out and just give it a few little thwacks and see what happens. Hopefully, hopefully it goes all right. We'll see. That actually felt good. That actually felt good and looked good. Now, just a word of advice. When you're doing that, it splashes, you know, the borax out and the slag, and it's hot. But don't wear clothes like this, because it just melts right through and then burns you. So, going good. Well, we are here at the last forge welding, like, tappy tap. And then we're just gonna see if it welded. I feel like it did, but I could be wrong. This might be, I'm optimistic, but I'm trying to hold in my excitement. Sideways hit. I figure if it doesn't delaminate from immediately from some side hits, I'm pretty sure it's welded, which is awesome. Let's see. Where's my thing? And if it actually welds, this is going to just greatly expand the types of projects I can do. And, quite frankly, if it's actually welded, which I'm gonna take it to the grinder and grind some off just to see inside. But if it's actually welded, which it feels like it is, it really expands the types and what kind of projects we can do, which is so exciting. I mean, it looks great. It looks, I'm so excited. That's what happens when I get excited. Among other things. Now my pants are exploding. All right. I'm so excited. It looks forge welded. I ground off the end, and it looks like it's welded. What I don't know like if there's proper ways to test this. I mean, all I can think of is cool it down, stick it either on the anvil or in the vise, and hit it with a hammer and see if it delaminates. Or even if it's partially welded, partially not. Good to know, I guess. Let's cool it down. Nice and cool. And looks like all that borax melted up here too, a little bit. Or it's just extreme scale from the super hot temperature. I don't know. Let's see. Well, it breaks off like it's really hard, so it's either melted borax or scale, but this is, I can't even contain how excited I am. Because if this works, oh my gosh, the types of projects we can do, because this is a little forge, so I can only fit, somewhat small things in here, which has been a problem on occasion, especially with trying to pick out projects to learn. But if I can forge weld, I can make things like chain links and just multi-part things. Ah! Okay, let's just take it over to the vise and hit it, with a hammer and bend it, and see if it delaminates. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers, people. I'm gonna hit it. Oh man, I'm preparing myself for just utter disappointment or excitement, and I don't know what to feel right now. So let's do it. It's bending. I think it might be, it might not be the perfect forge weld, but I think it's forge welded. Let me just try hitting it as I was holding it on the bottom of the forge weld. So let's just hit it a bunch and just see what happens. Let's take it over to the anvil and just wail on it a little bit. All right. Ow, my hands. Hitting cold steel is not very comfortable. All right. Ooh. Oh, that hurts. All right, let's just do some heavy cold side hits and see. Now, hitting it cold obviously wouldn't be something you'd want to do, even though this is mild steel, it's a little more forgiving. But even if you didn't forge weld something, you wouldn't want to do this. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, 18 pound, 25 pound, 16 ounces, and 120 cubic centimeter baby Jesus. It forge welded. I hit the crap out of it, as you saw. I bent it, I did whatever. It is now, pretty beat up, but it didn't delaminate. So, like I said, even if it's not a perfect forge weld, it is good enough for government work, which at this point, maybe I'm too good for government work. I think I need a pay raise. Get on it. But this is awesome. This is beautiful. So cool. So now, I'm just running the forge at back down at 1 psi just to actually warm up the area. But now, I get to prep the knives. Even though this isn't going to result in a finished project or a finished whatever, this should be, another good learning experience. I guess this video is all about learning. G.I. Joe, the more you know. And we don't know what steels these are, but we know this is some kind of stainless steel and this is some kind of carbon steel. This is just going to be an experiment, so maybe I just don't worry about it and just expect, and maybe I shouldn't even try to make a finished object out of this. Maybe I should just accept that it's going to be ruined and just try to get a larger piece of stainless steel attached to a piece of carbon steel. All right, so I went ahead and I ground the stainless steel chunk to roughly closer to the shape of this guy. I wiped them down with acetone, so they should be, well, relatively as clean as I can get them. And, well, this will sit on top. I'm gonna put borax in there. Now, this is a much larger piece than my test piece. So that's part of this experiment, and then the other part is just stainless steel, forge weld, can I do it, all that shenanigans. So this would have probably ended in kind of a failure anyway, because as it turns out, the two knives are barely too long for the forge. So as far as the length, heating up the entire thing probably isn't going to, as far as heating it up evenly, probably isn't going to work, but I'm hoping I can at least get like half of it and then heat up, do the other section, the front half after. But it's heating up at full gas. I'm just gonna leave it in there probably for another minute. Oh man. Well, I figured this would happen. I'm pretty sure it was hot enough. I think I'm just trying with too big of a piece. With this little forge, I couldn't get enough heat into really any section because the door had to be open and all that other stuff. So maybe I'll do one more test with just a small section of stainless. I cleaned it up as best I could, created a little section of the knife, just a much smaller and little section. Unfortunately, the steel was so thin because they were already, kitchen knives, that I couldn't really clean it up all the way, as I was just grind through it in parts and things like that. So I don't think this will work, but it's a much smaller section. I'm able to close the doors, stick it in, and let it sit for a little bit longer. And just, hope for the best. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to have to do some research then on stainless steel and steel. Well, as expected, I didn't succeed. I couldn't get the steel quite clean enough, and so unfortunately, I think because I started with the huge pieces of steel, I kind of screwed myself over a little bit for the second test, because the steel is so thin, I couldn't really grind and clean it all up enough to try a more accurate try again. So I think it was dirty, and quite possibly the types of steels just don't forge well. I believe they were hot enough. I think it was just a combination of thin steel, dirty, and just not the best test. So, on that note, I think today was a success overall because of this. Successful forge weld. Now this was between two pieces of mild steel, so I know I can do that and have it tough. So in the future, maybe I mess with some more stainless and steel combos, but I am for sure going to be doing some mild steel and carbon steel forge welds, and then I'm going to try to do some mild and mild. So I guess that brings us to the end of this video. Not super exciting, no product at the end, other than this sick, awesome, wherever I put it, sick ass forge weld. Other than that, it was a good experiment, good learning. Failed on the stainless steel, need to try again, need to do some reading and research, and maybe if somebody knows, some comments. What should be best. But I guess that's the end of this episode. I will leave you with this episode's quote.